Hello, I'm Yinka Bikini and welcome to Out of Frame. Every week I speak to a different person who works below the line in TV and film. These are the people that help bring a production together, from makeup artists to SFX supervisors, set designers to mental health consultants. This is the podcast to explore a side of the film industry that you've never seen before. This is Out of Frame. Jimmy, welcome to Out of Frame.
Thank you very much, Yinka. It's great to be here.
I obviously have so many questions about what your role actually is, but first, I would like to learn a little bit more about you. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions which are going to give us a better understanding of who you are.
Great.
Are you ready?
You're probing.
Yeah. Poke, poke.
Ready.
What's the last film that you watched that really inspired you?
I recently watched a documentary called 6 Inches of Soil about regenerative farming. And yeah, that really inspired me to look at farming practices and the food that we're eating and how we can look at the soil in a different way from what we have been, looking at completely taking all of the nutrients and everything out of the soil, and instead looking at how we can give back to the soil and look at the soil as a living thing that we have to live with. And if we don't have soil, we don't have life. So yeah, it's quite a deep, a meaningful documentary.
Do you know what? Any other guest, I'd say, oh, rogue, but you, I completely get it. And I love the fact that you picked a factual film as well. It's good.
To stay on brand.
Yeah, definitely. What would the title of your biopic be?
I was given a phrase by a production manager that I worked with a long time ago, and it's something that stuck with me throughout my career. Right at the beginning of my work as sustainability, I was really enjoying the role and really excited about the future of where it could go. And I spoke to the production manager that I was working with at the time, and I asked what your thoughts are on this role and where you see it going in the future. And they looked at me square in the eyes and they said, Jimmy, you don't add picture value. And that's something, again, very deep and on brand, but something that's really stuck with me throughout my career and actually given me quite a lot of drive to, yes, we don't as sustainability add picture value, but there's inherent intrinsic value that is super important. It's something that I think of quite often, actually.
You've made my suggestion feel not that great.
What have you got?
Jimmy, keeping up with change.
Okay, great.
Do you get it?
Love it.
Okay, Jimmy, I think it's time we find out exactly what you do as a sustainability consultant. Can you tell me exactly what your role involves?
It's a very new role. So environmental sustainability has only really been about for the last 10, 15 years. And it's something that we're seeing more and more of across all of the productions. So my role specifically as a sustainability consultant is essentially coming on board a production as early as possible, speaking with all the key stakeholders to come up with a sustainability plan, putting that plan into writing and then seeing it through the course of production and then reporting on it at the end. So that's kind of the outline of what we do. We speak with all the departments and look at their structures, what they're doing, the processes, the waste management plan, the power management plan, and then advise on how best to implement better, more positive solutions.
So when a film or TV series is being made, how important is it that you join the production as soon as possible?
It's huge, yeah. Previously on shows that, 4, 5, 6 years ago, we were kind of coming on board for 4 or 5 weeks out from the start of the production, and all of the processes are in place. Workshops are set up. Everyone knows what they're going to do in terms of power management, waste management, and then we just had to try and react and try and rip apart those systems and rebuild them very late on. Where we are now, we're coming on board productions sometimes, 8 months out from the start of the show, at the start of shoot. So we are in a position then to meet with the HODs as they're starting, meet with the workshop supervisors as they're starting to say, how about you set it out like this? And this is the waste structure that we've got in place and this is what we should be doing. So yeah, it's really crucial.
I can imagine that if you come on a little bit later, when things are already in place, how easy it is to sort of be reactive and to almost feel like you're Mr. No, as opposed to facilitating a more sustainable production.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that Mr. No is is crucial because, we want it to be in a positive environment and to be able to create positive solutions for changing working habits. We don't want to be in a position where, we've got a costume supervisor who's incredibly stressed as it is, and we come in and say, oh, if you thought about using a different material than the ones that you're currently using, and they won't have time to think about that or the headspace. So, it's about being able to support people to make better choices.
What was the first production you worked on within sustainability?
So I worked on Cinderella with a Disney show over at Pinewood Studios. And I remember the production team that I spoke to at the time, they said, we're not really too sure what the job is, but you've got to write a report at the end of it. So I was like, okay, it sounds great, let's go. And jumped in. And it was a really fun and interesting learning experience. And I mean, this whole career has up until this point.
What tasks did you end up doing on that job? What did you actually end up doing?
Waste management is so visual within film and TV and general life. So it became the first thing that we needed to get right in my head. So setting up drive mix recycling bins across the studio, making sure the catering have got access to that, and also to food waste. And then, I mean, at that time, it feels crazy thinking back at it now, but, every set was littered with plastic water bottles, the small 500ml or 330ml plastic water bottles. And we had to try and find a way of getting rid of those. A lot of energy went into finding alternative solutions, looking at water bottles, setting up water coolers and making sure that they were available everywhere, which included me kind of dragging around water coolers and those massive bottles throughout Black Park and other locations on Cinderella. And then there was also a lot of speaking with, construction people who had been doing the same job for 30, 40 years plus and going, have you thought about using water-based paint instead? And then kind of getting turned around and kicked out the door. So, it was a lot of where can I find an opening, who's going to talk to me. We had some really great fun things that came out of that.
And if we fast forward, it's been 10 years or so since Cinderella. What is the most recent project that you've worked on?
My company, Sustainable Film, we're working over a number of different projects at the moment. So we've got a couple of large Amazon shows. We're working on House of the Dragons, Harry Potter here. We've got a couple of Lucasfilm shows going as well. So it's very exciting, all the scale of shows that we're working on at the moment.
Busy.
Yes. Yeah.
And it seems like times for yourself over the last decade or so have really changed. How do producers and heads of departments respond to you now?
A lot better, thankfully. Like I said, people would turn me around and kick me out the door. But now, I mean, especially the last 5 years, we've seen such a remarkable change in attitudes towards sustainability, and people want to talk and people want to understand. I think, for the first 5 or so years of my career, it was is me finding ways of being able to get into those doors and speak to the right people. Whereas now on every show that we're on, we're getting called by a different head of department to talk about what they're doing and how they're doing it and how they could be better and what they did on the last job and what they want to achieve on this one. So it's really exciting. It's been a remarkable change. There's still a number of HODs who essentially would rather not speak with her. So we do still spend quite a lot of time banging on doors and making sure that we have that time being stood up for meetings and then not letting go of it and making sure that we get that opportunity again. There's big change, but still a long way to go.
Would it be fair to say that part of your job is trying to show how important it is? Because a head of a department who have got so many people that they're working with, there's a lot of moving parts. It can sometimes feel a little bit like a burden.
A lot of the work that we do is highlighting climate change and the issues that we're currently facing, the issues that we will be facing, without making it overly negative and burdensome. Like we don't want people to be bogged down in climate anxiety and understand exactly what mitigation and all of that. So it's about raising awareness for those sorts of things, but at the same time showing solutions and showing hope, and that we do have a way out of it, but it takes a lot of work.
Jimmy, each week I ask the lovely guests that I meet on Out of Frame to bring something into the CrewHQ studio with them, an object that helps give a visual image of what their role entails in film, so what it's like on a day-to-day basis. And I was racking my brain thinking, what is he going to bring a seed in? What's he going to bring in? So can you tell us what you've brought in with you today?
Yeah, of course. So I've got an Instagrid, which is a battery. I'm not going to pick it up because it's really heavy. So I hope you can
I saw you
it.
lugging it in here.
So this is a battery. It can be used across loads of different aspects of film and TV. Usually you will find these powering, small tea tables, powering LED lights in more remote circumstances. But it more wanted to symbolize that actually power is such a massive aspect of a carbon footprint. So fuel makes up over 60% of a carbon footprint, and that's either from travel or from power. So historically and still to this day, diesel generators are used in remote areas to be able to provide power. Batteries are an excellent way of us being able to mitigate the amount of fuel that we're required to use it in generators. These are also excellent at being able to chuck out right next to camera because, of course, they're completely silent and produce power. So usually you would either have to have a generator that would be chugging away or have it miles away and then have loads and loads of cable that you'd have to run all the way down to set. But these and Wattmans and larger batteries like the Orbs, they can power Video Village. They can power anything that's right next to the camera. The sound guy person could sit on it and they wouldn't be complaining. So multifunctional.
For audio only listeners,
yeah.
Can you describe what we're looking at?
Well, it's kind of like a suitcase shaped box. It's a big battery that's very heavy. It's got a couple of switches and you've got a couple of plugs to be able to plug anything you want into the side of it.
And something that's this size, let's say like hand luggage size, what could that power?
The main uses of these that I see is powering LED lights. So this is perfect if you've got some practical lights. So let's say you're lighting up a set and you want to change the street lighting, put your own lighting in, so you can essentially rig that up, cable it down, and then just hide this somewhere out of shot, and it'll be able to run all day on that.
And is this one from any particular job, or do you remember one of these on any particular job?
Yeah, but this one I literally just stole off Harry Potter, so I hope they're not missing it. There's a light somewhere that's out. So.
We'll get it back there soon.
Yeah, it's not the cupboard under the stairs light.
So Jimmy, I want to focus on how you got to where you are now in your career. Am I right in thinking that you left school with zero expectations of working in the film industry?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I left school with little expectations and little to show for the last number of years as well, actually. So I grew up in kind of a standard working class background. The high school that I went to, I didn't get on very well with learning at all at that stage in my life. And at the end of school, I essentially failed all of my GCSEs. I came out with 3 A to C, and I got G's, U's. I think I got an I or something like that, which I didn't even know was possible. And yes, I came out with 3. I had no idea what I was going to do with my life. My mum wanted me to learn a trade. So yeah, early plans was to become a plumber. Yeah.
But you didn't.
I didn't.
You didn't.
I hate plumbing now, so I'm glad I didn't.
But it was at college that you first became interested in the creative industry, right?
Yeah, that's right. So I came out of high school, was going to go into kind of technical college, and then all my friends were going to an A-level college, and of course I had no GCSEs to be able to go in to do my A-levels. So I looked at what else they had, and they had a GMVQ in media, which kind of called to me. I was quite interested in it. I like watching TV, I like watching films, and my attitude to learning just completely changed because the teacher that I had there, she was lovely. She kind of just supported, everyone. We were all kind of rejects, I guess, coming into it. And she supported us through the course. Really enjoyed, doing the news side of things, newspapers, magazines. And then I thought, maybe there was a future for me in that. So I finished my GMVQ. I managed to get a merit in that. And then went on to do A-levels at the same college at St. David's. So I did film, media, and then philosophy, which was quite a rogue choice. And I kind of wish I didn't choose that. I was stuck with it. And then, again, throughout my A-levels, really enjoyed doing those and found that actually learning wasn't as boring as I thought it was, and I didn't need to act up because I could just try and be good at what I was doing and enjoy that, and that was all part and parcel of it. So I came out of college a year late and was ready to take on the world, ready to see what was next.
And you got your experience on a film set when you were at uni, right?
At the end of our third year, there was a big talk production that was coming down to shoot in Cornwall. And they reached out to the college and just to the uni and asked if anyone wanted to do any work experience. And we were a course, the year was, it was 150 in our year, but we found out that it was only myself and my friend who applied to do the work experience. And my friend did it because I forced her to do it. They kind of gave us a call and was just like, "You're in, come and have a go." It wasn't until then that we found out it was 3 weeks of night shoots in the middle of winter on Bodmin Moor, which is just a very bleak,
stunning
landscape. And it was freezing cold. We got wet. We got snowed on. Just didn't really sleep properly for 3 weeks, and I loved it. I thought it was so much fun.
What department did you work in?
Everything. So we came on essentially as just doing odd jobs, and then about a week or so into that, production said that I was now going to be the sound mixer's assistant. So I started assisting them, essentially helping to make sure that all the batteries were charged, lugging around their kit, doing a bit of boom up stuff, again being in awkward positions, holding a mic in the back of a car, that kind of thing.
It sounds like you got a real accurate first taste of what it's like to be on a film
I think so,
set.
yeah. And I got on really well with the location manager there as well. I just enjoyed the experience so much. I was just trying to help anyone and everyone that would accept any help. So I was, I was locking the gates with the location manager at the end of the day, and they were having to say, "Go home and have some sleep, and you can come back and do it again the next day."
That's so cute.
Yeah.
And then after leaving uni, what kind of jobs were you working on?
I went to a temp agency in Truro, and they got me a job packing scones in a pasty factory, which
fun,
total Cornwall vibe, and live in the Cornish stream. And I did that for 2 days, and props to people who work in factories. I couldn't do it. It was like leaning over a conveyor belt, packing scones into packs all day for like 10 hours. And then on that second day, I actually got a call from a production coordinator who was coming down to shoot a film in Cornwall, and they had got my details from the work experience production that I did. And they essentially just hired me on the spot. They just said, "Do you want to come and do it?" I was just like, "Yes, please. Take me out of this hellhole." And I remember calling the temp agency and just being like, "I'm going to Hollywood. I'm sorry, I'm not coming in tomorrow."
And did you end up in Hollywood?
Well, no, not quite. The glamorous Leavesden, it's close enough.
Especially when the sun is shining, which is rarely.
Yeah.
But it does peek out behind the clouds every now and then. So you moved to London to pursue the work, right?
I moved straight up to London not long after that. I was really fortunate, and things just kind of rolled on from other jobs. So the production team that I was with in Cornwall, they went on to another job in London and liked the way I was working and asked me to come up. So I moved straight up, lived on my sister's couch for about 6 weeks, probably 5 weeks too long, and then moved in with the production assistant, the other production assistant on the job. We ended up spending probably too much time together.
I think it's important to pause. You haven't said anything wrong, don't worry.
Yeah.
But a lot of our listeners are people who love the film industry and they want to be part of it. And I think it's important that we do recognise that it isn't easy, that there are challenges and lack of consistency, like what you've experienced as well. But just to acknowledge that, because I do think that, us sitting in this studio and we're sort of reminiscing about your time in the film industry and how you've worked your way up can seem coated in glitter, right? Yeah. But at the time, going from job to job and, essentially like couch to couch, it must have been hard, and not knowing where you're going to land.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that, I probably made it sound quite consistent. But that time I was in Cardiff, I was back living with my parents and trying to find work. It's really tough. I remember going through K's, which is the the catalogue of industry contacts, and just going through the location manager section and just calling everyone and having a little black book and writing everyone's phone number into it. Finding it just so tough to figure out how on earth are you meant to make contacts, how on earth are you meant to keep those contacts. And I think something that kind of really exemplifies that is I'd never thought I was going to be going into sustainability. It was never a path that I thought was even available, let alone one that I thought I would be taking. I started in production and then I thought that never really transpired. And, from there I tried to get into props and same thing happened. Even, throughout my career, there's been periods, and throughout everyone's careers, periods of severe anxiety of not knowing when the next job's going to come. And then I think there's a massive thing within this industry of not appreciating time off as well. Because being freelance, you're constantly going from job to job and you're looking for the next job and what's going to happen, where am I going to be, where do I need to be? And you don't really appreciate the time that you've got. And then you start a job and it's like, I need some time to be able to think, to be able to have some headspace and to relax. It's a really challenging environment to be in.
Why do you think this area spoke to you specifically?
Well, both my parents are hippies, so kind of growing up, it was...
the apple doesn't fall far.
Exactly, yeah. It was always big in our household. We were always told to recycle, to not litter, all of that. So I think it was something that I'd always been very conscious of. And I think the newness of it really appealed to me as well. It's like the fact that it was such a new area that not many people were doing, not many people knew what it was. And I think they really felt that opportunity of being able to, own something and develop something. So I think that really spoke to myself as well.
Do you know what I found amazing? It's the fact that you left school without any clue of what you wanted to do, but then you ended up finding a job that didn't exist when you left school.
Yeah.
So what do you think that says about being open-minded to opportunities?
I think that's my career in a nutshell. Keeping your eyes open and seeing what develops and what happens. Sound didn't happen, props didn't happen. There's an opportunity here. Why not just follow it, see what happens? And then being told by that production manager that it's not going to amount to anything. I think you have to be open. You have to be very flexible and ready to kind of take on whatever's next. And I mean, if I'd done this for a couple of years and then found a different department to get into that interested me more or that I wanted to pursue, then the amount of experience that I would have got from doing sustainability, working as essentially a one-man band, being a coordinator, a manager, and all of the above, that experience would have put me in good stead in other departments. So I think it's crucial to not box yourself in too much. If you want to be a camera person, then go and try and experience that. But if something else comes up, go and experience that, because you're going to be able to go back to that initial role or that role that you want to be with a wider understanding of the industry.
Jimmy, I know that you love working in film and TV, but what I want to know now is what your trivia knowledge is saying.
Okay.
Oh, the time has come. You've chosen a specialist subject before coming here today within the world of film and TV, and now is the time to be quizzed.
Great.
So are you ready to answer 3 questions on your specialist subject, which is classic Coen Brothers movies?
Gotcha.
Okay, so Acclaimed filmmakers Joel and Ethan Coen are known for their distinctive style, dark humour, and memorable characters. What do you love most about their films?
I think that the characters, particularly, I think, looking at the dude and everything before and after, they've got an excellent way of being able to bring quirky to life, I'd say.
Nice. Let's do this. Okay, question number 1. In No Country for Old Men, great film, which character narrates the movie? Let me give you the options.
Okay.
Is it A, Anton Chigurh, B, young Carla Jean Moss, or C, Sheriff Ed Tom Bell?
I'm going to make a complete fool of myself straight away. I wouldn't call No Country for Old Men classic Coen brothers, but wasn't my favourite. I'm going to go, I actually have no idea what the answer to this is. So I can't imagine it's the sheriff, so I'm going to go A, please.
The answer is C. Sheriff Ed Tom Bell. So the movie opens with some thoughtful, low-key musings by Sheriff Bell about the job and his father and his grandfather, that they held the job before him, and what requires of the job holder.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. And also, it's a good film.
Yeah.
But you know what? Art is subjective. So I won't judge you too harshly. Go. Question number 2. Don't worry, there's still two to go. Don't worry. In The Big Lebowski, what is the dude's drink of choice?
That's White Russian, of course.
He didn't even need the options. But for those listening, the options were A, a White Russian, B, an Old Fashioned, or C, a Negroni. And the answer is, of course, a White Russian. He's very particular about his choice of cocktail.
There was a screening at university of The Big Lebowski. I think it must have been like a Monday morning lecture, 9:00. And we all turned up in dressing gowns with White Russians for it, which was really fun.
So that's a memory that's in there, one of your cool ones. Okay, so look, now you can't even lose because you've got one right.
Okay.
In the 1996 Fargo, the Welcome to Brainerd landmark features a statue of a famous American folklore character. The statue was deliberately made for the film. Who is the character? Is it A, Johnny Appleseed, B, Paul Bunyan, or C, Davy Crockett?
Oh, well, I know Davy Crockett is, but I feel like Fargo would be, I haven't heard of the first two.
So you're going with?
Let's go with Mr. Bunyan.
The answer is B, Paul Bunyan. Well done.
Come on, Bunyan.
I like that you just went left there and you went with your gut and your heart and your hope, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so Fargo starts with the words, "This is a true story," but a Paul Bunyan statue is featured in the opening sequence. So anyone who's curious, Paul Bunyan is a giant lumberjack and a folk hero, and there are genuine Paul Bunyan statues dotted around Minnesota because of the state's logging heritage.
There you go.
2 out of 3. How do you feel?
Happy, yeah.
Yeah?
Relieved.
I was sweating for you a second there. Luckily, it soaks it up, I think, so there should be no patches.
Yeah.
Jimmy, more and more people and companies are becoming aware and feeling the pressure of climate change. What changes are you seeing in the film industry?
Generally, hearts and minds, I think, is changing considerably. I think we're finding a lot more people are open to understanding more about climate change and their impact on climate change and how they can have a positive impact within their work. I think looking at specifics, power management is changed considerably from the days of filling up a heater with used cooking oil to where we are now with amazing bits of kit with big batteries, hybrid generators, push towards hydrogen power, biodegradable polystyrene. There's lots of cool materials that are coming out at the moment.
I love the fact that your initial answer was hearts and minds, because I think that's the big one, isn't it? Like, of course, you need to have practices and materials and things of that nature are changing, but that doesn't happen unless the people who are in charge and who are delivering these sorts of services change their minds.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that is throughout productions now as well, whereas before, generally, before I would have had a call from a set painter and saying, why haven't I got a recycling bin? I need to be able to do something with this. To now it being, the producers who are saying we want to set really strong targets, and how do we achieve those targets, and who do we bring on board? And costume designers looking at the materials that they're fabricating costumes with, and how they can have a better impact. It's kind of grown considerably amongst all crew members, and particularly those at the top of productions.
What projects are you really proud of, and the impact that it's had?
I guess the longevity of still being here is probably the thing I'm most proud about, and how stubborn I've been over the years to still be here and still banging my head against the wall to be able to get the door to open. So I'm really proud of being able to sit here and being able to play a small part in improving the permanent infrastructure here at Leavesden. So that happened on a couple of Fantastic Beasts shows, and also on House of Dragons 1. I guess, for instance, on the House of Dragons 1, we did a cost-benefit analysis of hiring a load of generators and the fuel that would go into those generators to be able to create the power needed on the backlot, because there is no house power, nowhere to plug in. We looked at the cost of that and then compared that with the cost of installing permanent power down there, which it turned out that we would be saving money by installing power. So we did that quite early on in the job, and over the course of the whole production, we saved over 400,000 litres of fuel from being used, and those ones are still being used today. So it's got a lasting impact, which has been really nice.
What sort of person do you think you need to be to succeed as a sustainability consultant?
I'd say communication is very key, and understanding communication styles, and knowing who to speak to and how to speak to them and when to speak to them. That is a crucial part of the work that we do, and being able to be positive and understand where to be positive.
And when it comes to the film industry's approach to sustainability, what would you like to see more of?
I'd like to see more of individual responsibility. I'd like to see people taking responsibility and ownership on the work that they do and the work that they produce, and how it impacts a production's carbon footprint, a production's waste footprint, and more sustainability people out in the market. That's what I really want to see.
What's the best part about working in sustainability? Why should people consider this role?
I love the work that I do because you kind of alluded to it earlier. The film industry is a collaboration of loads of different industries. We've got costume, we've got construction, we've got the manufacturing of products and goods and that sort of thing. And my favorite thing about sustainability, and is from the very beginning, is the fact that you get to see all of that happening, and you get to be involved in that in a very small way. We get to go at the beginning of each production. We go around all of the departments and meet with them and see what they're doing and speak to them. So, we've seen stormtroopers being made. We've seen wands being made. We've seen these fantastical sets that are being designed and then brought to life. And we get to speak to all of the masters who are doing that. I think the best thing about sustainability is being able to have little sneak peeks into everyone's work.
To see the magic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jimmy, I've loved speaking to you today, genuinely, and I've learned so much about your role as a sustainability consultant. Before you go and bring that battery back, before you go, I would love to ask for one final piece of advice, something that you think our film-loving audience should know about pursuing a career in this industry.
Yeah, I think definitely being open to change and being fluid and flexible. Have a plan, have an idea of what you want, but realize that plan probably won't work, and you have to change. You have to roll the punches. You have to see what's happening, what's current, what's not, and go with it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for watching. We'll be back next week with more conversations and more insight. And in the meantime, let us know, what do you want to know about the film and TV industry? What job role do you want to hear from next? Send us a message at We Are CrewHQ on Instagram and TikTok. For now though, I'll see you later.